No, I'm excited, guys. I have two amazing candidates that are going to come to you now. And that is Mr. Patrick Tanis himself. Oh my goodness. Patrick, oh my Lord. Oh my God. We're talking about, competent people, and here you are on my screen. And the Mr. Sean Tudor himself. Listen, I know you guys have been on the field the entire day, and I feel so bad to ask you to come on the show, because I know you are hard workers. You hit the pavement. You're not in an office like, in my constituency here that I live, because I'm not running, that I live, there is the Mr. Indar Ware, and I'm going to his name. And you know what? That man, the last election, Sean, he actually didn't even do any campaigning. He sent out Mr. Wood for him. And this year, he's employing people. We have not seen the man. We have not seen the man living in here. It's 3.5 years. And I tell you, Patrick, the only time I see that man is on TV. You understand me? The only time I see that man is on TV. So even in the campaigning so far, it's a little children and teenagers that he has paying to put up with. And the man, you know what they tell me? He's home. He's at the office. He's at the office. So when we're talking about ordinary people, and I know you guys are hitting the streets, hitting the pavement, talking to people, and I want to hear about that. And I thank you so much for taking the time out, to be here with me and to talk about your candidacy. So, Mr. Tanis, tell me about, why are you running? Why are you running?
Well, Marcia, I have had the fortune to have run before with the Democratic Labour Party. The results that were accumulated show that less than 10 votes separated me from Miss Bradshaw. Mm-hmm. And I'm not one to seek a public acclaim. I'm a professional in the area of finance, and I was pretty much thinking, you know what, let me try and get what I really wanted to happen for the people of St. Michael, Sulphise, and Barbados still done. And so I was working behind the scenes and connecting the government leaders with the right persons across the hemispheres. And I was willing to do that. I was willing to sit back and let, Barbados benefit from my expertise areas. And so that was what I was doing. But then I heard that there was a scenario that played out that the current administration was going to remove God from our Constitution. And let me tell you, right, when I heard that, God spoke to me. And my convictions were put in order. And if you know me well, I am not the most perfect guy, but I love God. I love God. And if you want to get me stirred up, you trouble God and you trouble me. I am, and that stirred me up. And then several key leaders across the nation called me in the political realm, not even, the most Christian, quote unquote, people, but leaders in politics, leaders in government, leaders from both parties that are being featured around the place over the last 55 years, called me and said, listen, we need you. And I said, but you need me. I won't be running your party. They said, we need you as a country. And they called me. And Christmas morning, I went into the constituency and I saw the needs of the people. For 8 years, the current person who is in St. Michael, Sulphise was there. And there's almost 60% unemployment. And there is, Christmas morning, there were people calling for just, a few dollars to try and even get something to eat, it occurred to me, this is wrong. But on top of that, the real wrong was when Bishop Aguilino, he went into great detail, and my wife showed me the video of him highlighting and articulating with extremely, relevant skill and a divine unction. Bishop Agley, who is a very good friend of mine and an extremely competent leader, let me tell you, right? And a very serious man. He was outlining the deception that was being handed to Barbados by the Barbados Labour Party, that there is going to be right? A move to bring God out of our constitution and bring in things that are going to be unsavory, and that's putting it mildly, to the people of Barbados, and specifically the Christian community, which is in excess of 76% of all persons in this country. And yet a minority of less than that is having their way. They're kicking out what we, the majority, want. This is not democracy. We want to have God. And can you imagine, right? Can you imagine that morality, ethics, values, and all the things that matter for good, right, are being debated and tossed around on radio, so-called radio in Barbados, and people are freely, right, attacking not just the electorate, but the persons who spend money and keep this economy going, right? And we are being chastised as being wrong, and people who want to have unsustainable human relationships that are unethical and have no real value, and then to turn around and think that there is that thing that empowers them to tell us, the church, the Christians, the people who have sustainable lifestyles with families, because none of the things that these people are doing can produce natural families. They're not in any way sustainable, and yet they're telling us that we are wrong, right? And I said, look, I cannot sit back and let this happen. And I was moved. Me and Bishop Avely, we joined together hand in hand, and part of this coalition on our side is Lynette Eastman, who is a professional. Let me tell you, Lynette is the kind of person that for a long time we have disallowed from being a true representative of Barbados. This is going to change right now. Lynette will be elected, right? My colleague here, Sean, on this show will be elected. Bishop Avely will be elected, and we are going to have a different Barbados. This is a new thing about to happen in this country. A new hope.
Correct. Something new is something happening. New.
And let me say this real quick before. Let me just add this real quick, right? None of the candidates in any of the other two parties are better than any of the candidates in these two parties, because you have E or D attached to you. That doesn't mean you're better than any of the candidates here. We have the best candidates in our coalition, right? We have the best candidates that you can find anywhere. If you're saying that your candidates are equal to ours, then I would accept that, perhaps. But your candidates are not better than ours.
Correct. And I'm listening. I also listen to the other coalition, and they seem to have, some really good people. And that's the thing, I believe that there are some people, Sean, who are just wanting to serve. You could hear their heart, and they just want to serve. And Sean, why are you running? Why are you a candidate?
Well, let me start. I started praying for this country in 2015. Actually meeting at a house in Kingsland. Not praying for my needs or for anything like that, but specifically praying for this country and about government and about righteous government in this country. I started it in Kingsland. So no wonder I am, once again, I am in Kingsland. And, we had the 2018 election, and it didn't go how I expected. But we had been told by a prophetic word in 2017, and I said to one of my colleagues that's running here, the people are going to choose that young lady. And when that young lady utterly fails them, when that young lady shows them who she really is, it is after that election when people will finally turn and say, I want candidates with integrity. We've had enough of traditional politicians. We've had enough of traditional politics. We want genuine people with integrity. We want principled people who will go there and serve God and serve the people in a way that is uplifting for the entire country. And so that I never had any great expectation. I am not surprised about anything that this administration is doing. I am in no way surprised. As a matter of fact, my surprise is that they have done so poorly in terms of the economics. I thought that they would have at least have done a little bit better. In terms of the other activity, I knew that that was coming, and I I really doubled down from the day that the throne speech was made. For me, that was it. There was nothing else that was my priority after that, other than uh, helping people to understand where this country is going to go. So when the opportunity came to put myself forward as a candidate, that was not, yes, it was a hard decision in a sense, but in another sense, it wasn't a hard decision because you really had to step up to it. I said at the time of the throne speech, and that is when people started to realize, but even then, people didn't realize that the leader of this country is seeking to remake this country in her own image and in her own likeness, and that is not a good thing at all. The administration was given a mandate for economic renewal. People felt that the Dems had, lost their way and the country wasn't being hurt. And that administration was given a mandate for economic renewal. Immediately, they made life more difficult for poor people. They made life harder. But there has been no economic renewal. All the leader of this country seems to be bent on doing is recreating this society in a very perverse image and in a likeness that is foreign to us. I cannot sit as a Barbadian and just go along, enjoy my life because I can look after myself and do nothing about it. I think I have a duty, a God given duty, to rise up, say something, and offer the people an alternative, offer the people, um, a different way because we can do better in the country than going down the path that we're going, which will lead us into oblivion.
Wow. I mean, very passionate, Sean, and both of you, it was out of a need to serve. Why you stepped up and and like you, I heard Reverend Atherley in Parliament, and I was so moved. I was so moved, and I believe her just as though we were stirred. And even people who don't go to church, I heard the Rastafarian say, Rastafari said, I mean, how you going to take God out because Selassie is our God? It's like an affront to everybody that believe that, to religious people, and so the question I'm asking our listeners, those who are watching, would you vote for a party that wants God to be removed from the Constitution? I really would like to hear your thoughts. I saw somebody said no. Steve Moore said no. I want to hear from others who are on. What would you do this? Because, Patrick, the thing is that people say all the time, we know about the B's and we know the D's and we, and so they decide to stick with them. They decide to stick with them. Do you see that there's a veering away from traditional parties, especially because of an issue like this?
Yeah, absolutely, Marcia. I think that it is clear that the traditional parties are not traditional in the sense that they are representing Barbadians. They are not. Both parties. Look at what happened in St. Michael's Southeast, right? Seven votes apparently separating me and Santia Bradshaw, right, in 2013. Every attempt by the then Minister of Finance was used to remove me from that seat, from that riding. And he boasted in Parliament that he was going to put Rodney Grant there, who the polls did not reflect could win that seat. And yet the polls reflected that I would have won the seat then in 2013. And only God knows what happened. Only God knows what really happened. Let me put that there, right? Because something happened, All right. And then on top of that, to hide what may have happened, it was clear that I was asked not to run, and they had to find somebody else there to ensure that Ms. Bradshaw would have won the seat. Right? And it was therefore collusion on both sides. I am saying that publicly. There was collusion on both sides, because look at what happened. Grant slipped over to the DLP and returned happily after he did what he did to the Barbados Labour Party. Right? And now is again supporting Sandy Bradshaw, which clearly he never stopped doing. He never stopped doing. He was always a supporter of Sandy Bradshaw. And what I'm going to say is this, right? The games have to stop. The fortunes of Barbadian people, when you look at what went on with radical investments that we were being told, and I heard the Barbados Labour Party prosecute Chris Sinclair and Mark Maloney, prosecute them up and down this country. And then all of a sudden, when the Barbados Labour Party is in office, who do you see next to the leaders of the Barbados Labour Party? The very two men that they prosecuted. So if that's the case, and there is this kind of thing going on, and then you hear about radical investments making overtures to buy vaccines for the people of Barbados, and those vaccines are, in essence, going to be charged to the people of Barbados at costs that do not reflect market values. And several lawyers have written about this, so you can go and check it yourselves, that reflect that something gravely wrong happened to that transaction. And if something didn't go wrong, we would not have known about it, in that the transaction went belly up. And then we were told by the press about it and how it was occurring. And then subsequently, the Minister of Health resigned and refused to go back to run for office. Something isn't right. And this is what we're facing. We're facing an administration that has several gray clouds over it. And we don't know how many more gray clouds are there. And so the collusion and the deception between the two parties, especially we can see that in St. Michael's Office, where all of a sudden you cannot speak to Patrick Tannis. Directives are being sent. Don't speak to him. Don't speak to Patrick Tannis. I grew up in the plane and you don't want people to speak to me. Let me tell you what, right? The church needs to pray, because all of a sudden we have a Gestapo, right? A Gestapo, Hitler-type administration running our country. You can't have Bajans speaking to other Bajans. What is that, right? We have a Gestapo. We have a new kind of governance in this new republic, right? And so this is the thing that we have to put our feet down, use our leverage. Don't mind if the candidate got 1 million flyers or not. The people of Barbados, you have got to break free from what is going on, because if you don't, we were told by the Prime Minister herself that austerity measures are coming, right? She said that after this election, austerity measures are coming. And let me tell you, we have been under austerity measures for the last 15 years. I don't understand how austerity could be coming.
What else are we going to, this is something else. This is something else. I mean, it's, because she also said, that she's going to have to make some tough decisions, and we want to know what these decisions are. Let me go over to Sean. And Sean, you have been with the constituents. You have been hitting the pavement there in Christchurch, and I want to. What are you hearing from the people? I mean, the pretty flyers, posters are up. I was in that area, although I saw a lot of them gotten torn down. To be honest, I saw some of those red posters torn down. But what are you hearing from the constituents there?
Something has really changed this time. The wool is coming off the eyes of the Barbadian people, and the Barbados Labour Party has got a problem on their hand. The atmosphere isn't there for them. The sense of jubilation and that we are going to win and so on isn't there. It is a very muted campaign from them. I certainly have never torn down a poster for anyone. Will never allow or permit supporters to do that. But I have been seeing that, especially because they put they put the leader, the lady that you were actually voting for. You mean you're voting for a representative? Yeah, but you really and truly you're voting for that leader. They put the leader on top, so her posters are harder to tear down. But I have noticed that in the constituency, several of the posters of the candidate are torn down. But what I keep hearing is that the people are extremely disappointed with that candidate in particular, because, as I said in the opening remarks at the nomination, that after the theater and after the circus, that the people are tired of Barbados Labour Party circus politics. Where you put on a big show, a big theatrical thing and mesmerize people, and then the music stops, and for the most part, the performers become a disappearing act. And this is what I am hearing. I didn't see him come back. 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 I didn't hear him come back. And there's a general disappointment. I mean, I also, with respect to the government and what has been done, there are a few people who have said, well, I support them. I voted for them last time. I, as a BLP supporter. But the one thing I have not heard anyone say is, I am pleased or I'm satisfied with the performance of the government. That is, I have not heard that throughout. I am pleased with or I'm satisfied with the government. They say, yeah, I was a supporter and so on and so, but they say next thing. And when you begin to point out to people, some want to admit, some don't admit, but there's huge dissatisfaction with the economic performance. Even the people that have not noticed the issues of the agenda that the government is pushing and how insidious and dangerous that is. Even from the economic point of view, there is a dissatisfaction with the government. I have said that yes, we've had COVID, we've had the pandemic all over the world, but the government could have done better. They could have done better for ordinary people. With the billions that they borrowed, they could have done more to support ordinary people, to support families, support young people, youth development. It just wasn't there because it is not their priority. It was never their priority. It's not their interest. The leader of the party has a particular agenda, and that's the direction that the leader of the party is going in. And I think it will not be as easy for the Barbados Labour Party this time as it was last time. It absolutely will not be as easy.
Well, I'm seeing here, Adrian Hines is saying, thank you, Tanis. I'm still hot on the trail to find out the real story with Chris Sinclair. A lot of things are pointing to him as the person who helped fill Mia Motley's red bag in the last campaign with all the goodies from the cabinet. Oh my Lord, I didn't realize that I was reading. Well, you know what? It's an allegation, and we don't know. I remember that red bag. I really do remember that red bag. Reagan, Sean is saying that all the flyers and ribbons and red shirts, all that money spent and people's light and water cut off during a pandemic. That is so true. I know of families who, Light and Power came down so hard on them. They're in the dark. Steve Moore is saying, think about your children before you decide to vote any of these traditional parties. For me, guys, I want to give the third parties a chance, to talk and let us meet them. We're hearing the heart. I'm hearing Mr. Tanis. We're hearing Mr. Tudor as he talked about what moved him, listening to the throne speech, etc., and how he was moved to be involved. And so it's important for us, to be able to connect with the candidate and to understand what is motivating them. Mr. Tanis, talk to us about how you grew up in the Pine. Yes, I know your sister as well, and you both are people who serve others, and you've grown up in the Pine, etc. What are some of your plans for the Pine? What is it? You were almost there. 7 votes separated you. But what are your plans? What's in your heart? What's in your bosom for the Pine?
All right, so we have a sports mechanism in the form of a brand new sports school that's being discussed and will be built in the area of the plane, a multi-million
Wow.
dollar complex, right?
So
that we will.
there's a sports school that's going to be built in the Pine.
That's correct. A multi-million dollar complex that will be built in the plane, right? It will have accessibility for all the sports in Barbados, literally, and it's at a high level of discussion. And the people of the plane, their children who are gifted in sports, will benefit from it, right? And then that takes care of the progression of education, because education is very important for the people, and the skill level of the persons in the plane. I mean, we have Ronaldo Mon, basketball coach, Derek Hurley, and Ivan Speed Ford, football legends, Tyreek that I just met with today, football legends that need to be out. And in the early days with Derek Hurley, he would carry teams across Trinidad and have them exposed, and he got quite a few scholarship winners out. And additionally, we also have Ronaldo Mon, who travels with me. We've met with the vice president of Nike and several leaders from Nike and NBA coaches and very senior basketball leaders. And Derek Hurley's two sons, Darion and Darren, were also on those trips. And what we're going to do is open up scholarship opportunities, which we have. Several of the kids have gone off on scholarships. And part of that is to have those persons take those scholarship opportunities. And then on top of that, we have a program that will bring zero unemployment, because, we're going to teach people to code blockchain and coding. I chaired one of the largest blockchain companies on the planet, right? We're bringing the expertise. We have guys here now who are the top software engineers on the planet, literally in the world here. And they were with me. And I'm not sure why the nation has refused to show that part of the interview, where we told Barbadians how we're going to do it. I find it interesting because it's a cutting edge thing. We have one of the top engineers in the world, and he was there at the nomination process, at the press conference that I had, sharing how we've spoken to the affiliate big companies, the tech companies across the US and across the world, that we're going to take. And you see, because Barbados, we think Barbados is big, 166 square miles, 200 and something thousand people. Listen, if everybody in Barbados coded, we still wouldn't have enough code for apps and so on, because the apps and the applications on the net do not sleep. And so we be you can earn as much in a first tier level as 40,000 US per person per year. And so we want to expose that. I hate to see, right, the skills up there in the plane and in St. Michael Southeast beyond the plane of people who do not have an opportunity. Well, guess what? We're bringing that opportunity. Now, prior to the 2013 election, what we did is we had our investors spend $14 million, and we spent that in the plane. It's on Regent Hill in the Community Development Center. And we removed the old workshop from Parkinson School and contributed to the building of the new block at Parkinson School. And the government was not asked to spend a cent. And those investors are willing to spend up to $105 million a year that I have introduced to this country. And that's what we're bringing. We're bringing it to the plane, but guess what? We're going to expand and bring it to the rest of Barbados. So it's not like we're coming saying, okay, we believe in God, shut your mouth and lift your hands and it's all over. That's how we're going to build the country. No, we're bringing serious investors who have a track record of building schools. Look, this is a huge event. We want ethical partnerships, and that's why we are coming forward. Persons like Sean and myself and Bishop Adley Lynette, we are serious people. We are professionals. We know what we're doing, and we're not just bringing godly standards and bringing back family to this country and the ethics and values that Barbadians and Jamaicans, yes, no, right? And Caribbean people, for that matter, that know we know what we want. We want families.
Mhm.
You don't want what is being pushed at us, where somebody who wakes up a morning and decides that they're not a man anymore, even though biologically they're a man, that they're gonna walk into a little girl's bathroom and pull out, themselves and try to use that bathroom. That's what
Mhm.
the Barbados Day Party is bringing to this country, by extension. And so what we're doing is bringing investments into family structures. The church system, the church leaders will be involved in helping us bring back those semblances of normalcy to this country, and not just
Mhm.
the evangelical and apostolic church. Our partners in the Anglican church will be with us hand in hand, and all the other
Mhm.
churches, all of the other churches and the church leaders. We are brothers and sisters. And Barbados had it right. This country has been peaceful, right? All of a sudden, with all this talk about change and so on, violence erupted because you're confusing the population. But guess what?
Yeah.
Our answer
You,
to
you,
crime
you
is
know,
bringing
you
them to
know,
court.
Patrick, you're talking there, and I'm remembering we just had a show with Dr. Morgan, and he was really underscoring what you're saying. And he said, that when you talk about fighting for the soul of the nation, he says, what is really the soul of the nation? It's the families. And so this election is so important because we are talking about families. We're talking soul, the soul of the nation. Now we have a question here, Tanis, because I'm going to ask people to write the questions. People are asking questions, and we're going to think about this question, Mr. Tanis. I'm going to talk with Sean about his constituency and what he plans to do in there, and then I'm going to ask you to answer this question here. We want this to be interactive,
Okay.
guys. Listen, this is about us. All right, so I want you to ask them the question. Ask them the hard questions. Ask them some questions. All right, so go ahead, Sean, and talk to us about your constituency.
It is amazing how Patrick and I didn't discuss like what we were planning to do for our communities. We talked otherwise. Neither of us needed to get in this race for anything to do with politics. We could both look after ourselves in terms of finance and in our connections in the financial sector. It is not. It is. We didn't have to do this. We're not trying to get something for ourselves. But it genuinely pained me to see the loss of the dissipation of human potential and so on that happened under this administration. 3 short years, how they just let the young people just drift just like that and did nothing for them. And just like what Patrick said, I have said it. I had a broadcast going looping all day in the constituency. I am promising the people that we will provide full sponsorship, full scholarship for those who are inclined towards sports. We will invest in the skills training, in particular, allied with what Patrick is saying, whatever skill it is, we need to do something about that whole generation. And specifically, because of connections that I have as well, I have promised and I have said we're going to introduce high-tech farming, vertical farming under a program that this is the containerized farming under a program that I call block farming, where you have 20-foot, 40-foot containers. They're converted. All the hydroponics, everything is inside there, computer control, very sophisticated, but easy to operate, simple to operate, and you can produce large amounts of food, high quality food, A-grade food. You can grow whatsoever you like there, right next to your home, and that will provide significant agricultural opportunities. I was going through in the van, and the thing was speaking, and people stopped me, like we were trying to cover some more ground, and it's like, man, I hear you talk with our farming program. I want to be involved in that farming program. I want to get involved in that farming program. I want XYZ, but I have been careful to say to people, and I say it here again on this show, that I, during this campaign, will not help any person, even with an electricity bill or light bill, because I don't want you to get confused that this is old-time politics with me seeking to induce you to vote or seeking to buy a vote. I say when the election is done and there are genuine needs, I will even personally respond to them. But for now, So yes, one of the in addition to the scholarships that Patrick talked about for his constituency, I've said the same thing in mine. We're going to introduce the containerized farming, the vertically integrated high-tech farming, where you can have a 20-foot, 40-foot container. Everything is outfitted and kitted, and we're going to give the young people the opportunity to be farmers, the opportunity to be entrepreneurs, to do this in their areas and look after themselves without having to go anywhere, without having to go and acquire any land, without having to get licenses and so on. It would all be there. And in addition to that, in my constituency, I'm saying we can help with the cost of living by helping to bring people's electricity bill, reduce it or bring it to zero with our renewable energy program at no upfront cost to the constituents. Absolutely no upfront cost to the constituents, but we can help with that. I believe that we can get through possibly a quarter of the residents over the 5-year term in terms of getting people with the photovoltaic there so they can get their electricity bills down to zero, no upfront cost to them. So as Patrick said, yes, we have godly principles. Yes, we are ethical. Yes, we have integrity. But we're not just coming and saying, "Oh, the Lord is good. Just vote for us," and so on and so on. Yes, we have integrity. We want to bring integrity to office, but we do have real programs and genuine solutions that will benefit ordinary people, that will help the average person. That we do have these programs. Mine are specifically focused on the youth with the scholarship and the skills training, then the containerized farming, the high-tech farming, and the renewable energy that will bring the electricity bills down to zero at no upfront cost to the residents.
Wow. And you know what? Everybody's relating very well to what you guys are saying. And one of the things that I want to say, as Mr. Phillips was saying earlier, that sometimes we want to think that, oh, all of these great minds are with these other parties, and so people don't want to take a look at the third parties. But I want to encourage those that you are listening, take a look at the third parties. Listen to these men. These are two men that I know. They are movers and shakers. These are not guys who are just, it's all about Barbados. They have their hands, in international stuff. And as I said, they don't go into, just a phone call away. I know, I've worked with these guys and I know what I'm talking about, right? And I've seen them in operation, right? So, and this is the thing about it, that it is so important that the right people get into the right positions to get the job done for the people. It's really about the people. And as I said, they don't need this job. It's another thing that they are suffering, that they need this job. And one of the questions I want to put to everybody who comes on here is something that I saw Errol Barrow do, and I want to ask you all about this, right? And I said to myself, everybody said, Marcia, you should run. Marcia, you should run. I didn't hear from God that I should run. But I'll tell you this now, Patrick and Sean, that if I was supposed to run in this country, I'm telling you that I would not, I wouldn't even take a pay. If they give it to me, I put it straight into the community because I don't need it. You understand what I mean? What I'm saying is that, yes, it would be great to have extra, right? But I was living without it. And this, I've read on Errol Barrow, and there were times in his service to Barbados where he didn't even take a pay, or he took a pay cut for the people. This is the time when we need people to stand up and say, I am a servant and I will serve. And I know everybody have it hard, but I want to hear the leader saying, I would do that. But don't answer that yet. Answer the guy about he asked about the stadium. What about, working on that and making it into an academy? What are your thoughts about that, Patrick?
Well, I was a national sprinter. I held the sprint record for being the fastest sprinter in Barbados, and also during the secondary school years, we held the record for the 4x1 record every year. We have the
Wow.
gold medal.
Mr. Man,
Yeah?
Usain Bolt in the house. Usain Bolt.
I also held the high jump record, the national
Wow.
high jump record. I also played basketball for Barbados, you know, and so I was a sportsman. And so the national stadium, as it stands, is not in a good way. And I would first of all, before I agree to have that stadium used for a sports school, what I would do is I would do a study on it and find out what is its current status. And then after that, I'd be in a position to say what we would do with it, because you don't want to make these statements, I will do this, I will do that, and you don't know what you're dealing with. So as a banker by profession, and you know, I've managed multi-billion-dollar banks, and I'm always aware of costs. So I wouldn't agree to something unless there's a study on my desk showing me exactly what the situation is before I make an agreement or make a move to affirm a yes or no status on it, because that's not how we as professionals operate. I have to know what I'm getting into first before I make that assessment. So after the assessment and I see what's going on in great detail about it, then I could say yay or nay to that being used. So that's my answer.
Well, wonderful. Thank you so much, Patrick. Valsia King. Hi, Valsia from New York. I'm watching from New York and very impressed with your ideas of the communities. When you're elected, God bless you all. And you know, the ideas, what I love about the ideas, it's something fresh to the communities, and it's not thinking, oh, this is just a pine. You know, this is what they're talking about, some multi-billion-dollar stuff here. And we, you know,
here's one for you, right? We have on my side of this discussion, we have right now as we speak on the Prime Minister's desk an agreement by the Faster Payments Network of the Federal Reserve and myself, where we put to them a fix for the Barbados dollar. A fix for the Barbados dollar where you would not have to earn foreign currency ever again in the history of this country. And she did not sign it.
So repeat, you did not have to earn what?
Foreign currency. You would not have, look, the stated pursuit of tourism, the stated pursuit of international business is to earn foreign currency, so that when you pay your bills, you can't at the moment pay your bills in Barbados dollars. You have to pay your bills in foreign currency. So you have to go and earn foreign currency. So the stated pursuit of tourism is to try and attract foreign currency. But they don't earn foreign currency from tourism. They don't. They do not. And so the amount of foreign currency that they earn is from loans. That's where they get it from, grants. And what we said to them is that we are going to give them a fix, and I mean signed off by the relevant authorities. The Federal Reserve is the United States Central Bank. And we signed it off, right? And you may have heard that I am the person, along with my colleagues, but leading that team, consultative-wise. We designed the world's first central bank digital currency. And so we worked with our counterparts in the United States and created a special fix for Barbados, a workable digital currency accepted by the Fed, and we put it on her desk, signed off by the chairman of the Federal Reserve Faster Payments Network, and supported by the officers of the Fed, the leaders of the Fed, made calls to the Prime Minister, and to this day we have not had a response from the Prime Minister on it.
Wow.
And it would have fixed the economic problems that Barbados has. It would have fixed them.
Well, you know, I'm listening to you, Mr. Tanis, and these are the guys. This is the kind of I am telling you that we need in our communities. We should not be going to the communities already thinking, oh, well, we could just do a little, give them a little something, give a little corned beef, and give them a little this here, and give them a road here, and give them there. But no, we're talking about development of the community, and the community is the people. And what I'm hearing here is the people. We're building, you know, the farming and all of these things, and it's a fantastic. No wonder, Sean, the people are saying that I want to hear more about that in Christchurch. What is it? Christchurch Central, right?
Christchurch East Central. And we're going to get the, Marcia, we're busy trying to meet the people, but I'm also trying to get the material prepared that we can get it into the hands of the people that they can look at it and see it. You've only got, it's a 16-hour day, Marcia. You get it from morning, you're in the field. You get home in the evening, you're working late into the night to get the things done. But come Monday, Tuesday, all my constituents will have my manifesto, my personal manifesto, and they'll be able to see. There's a number they'll be able to respond to and ask questions of that.
Yes.
I have had presentations from Patrick on that. I was not a part of that team. We collaborate on other things, but I've had presentations where they have, shown what they had planned to the country, what they have offered to the former prime minister, but what they've offered to the former prime minister, the outgoing prime minister, that would assist the country, and I know that will help us significantly. I really think I was so appalled. Honest to God, I was so appalled. I saw a brochure from a former honorable member of parliament with 4 things on there. I put in 46 street lights. I fixed X amount of roads, something 100 or something, and I helped 1,100 people. Could you imagine an MP saying that? That's what you did for 3.5 years?
3.5. I've been there 3.5 years. That's the thing.
Roads and lights. This is the government's business. That is not a political thing. You can't put down on nothing. I put in a street light for you. What? Put in a street light what? That is not your money. This is the business of government, is to provide street light, provide roads, and provide utilities and so on, right? And you ought to be ashamed that there were 1,100 people in your constituency that were so hard hit by the policies of this government that 1,100 people had to come to you for food vouchers and for help. And for a member of parliament to sit down and reckon how many of these care packages were given out in their constituency, and then come and say, look, I helped 1,100 people. Absolutely ridiculous. But that is not the kind of thing that we're offering people. We are offering genuine solutions to uplift communities, to uplift people, because we care about people. We're not coming to people because we want to prop up a particular leader who is only about their legacy and a particular agenda. Have some pride in yourself, have some integrity, and don't go back there saying you're supporting that leader and going back running on that ticket and so on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Sean, I can understand your. Sean, hold a minute. Someone is saying, speak it, Sean, speak it. Amazing the nonsense that Bajans accept from these parliamentarians. And, guys,
indentured
I
servants.
understand.
Indentured servants to the people.
Yes. And this is what they are accepting. And we are to, just accept it. I mean, you can see it in the community. As I said, the crying thing in my community here in St. Philip South. I have never seen the man in real life. It must be Jesus. I am telling you, I just know he exists, but I've never seen him in there. Where in my life, I only listen. I'm telling you, it's like. I don't know. I've never seen the man. I've not seen the man, and he is representing us, and you don't feel him in the community. I tell you this, Patrick, I went to the beach with there are some elderly people who go to the beach. I'm not elderly, but we go to the beach in the mornings, and those old ladies, I'm telling you, if they see him, I'm sure they're going to beat him with a handbag. The people are there say, listen, that man is the worst. And this is the kind of representation, as Sean is saying, that we are getting from these people, So this is really, really something. Now, there's some questions here, guys, and there's someone saying that, we often hear the politicians talking to us, the candidates talking to us, but we don't get a chance to ask them questions. And so we have some questions here, and somebody's asking about. I'm trying to look for them again. The questions, but someone was asking about energy. Did you see that question about energy? Anybody want to take it up?
I didn't see it.
Sure, you could go for that one. They wanted to know if it was going to be for homes. So yes, the answer is yes for the homes. Yes.
Yes, it was that. Thanks for answering that for the yes, Patrick. But not every home is available. Not every roof is suitable. The way how some roofs were pitched and so on and so on. But yes, and I said no upfront cost. Patrick and I are finance people. We know how these things are done. It does not depend on you being able to get a loan from the credit union and so on to get these projects worked out. If you were going to put 5 kilowatts on 1,000 homes, you're going to 5 megawatts, you can organize, you can get that done as a separate package and so on and so on and so on. So yes, it is for homes, because right now, most people's electricity bill, the average bill is running between $200 and $300. I mean, you just have to deal with it, no matter how much you try to economize and so on. And with the rate increase that the electric company is asking for, and with what Patrick and I understand about a commodity cycle, we know the oil price is going to go up. Therefore, the full adjustment addition is going to go up, plus the basic cost that they're seeking to get from. So electricity bills are not going to go down. They are going to go up. They're already running an average $250 somewhere in there. People are around $300. There are too many people falling behind with the light and power. And yes, we want to assist. It is a huge priority for me, for the area. We will, it will take some time to get the program started, but but this is what we're offering to people. And I said it again, with no upfront cost to the householder. We're going to seek to have the photovoltaics installed. There are ways to do these things. Patrick and I understand how these things are financed. We understand how these things are done as a package. And yes, it is for householders. And then the knock-on effect of that is that we reduce the fuel import bill. We reduce the fuel import bill, and until the government transitions to the regime, to the financial economic regime that Patrick is talking about, it will help us to conserve foreign exchange. So yes, the residents, ordinary residents, not rich people, not who has the cash money, ordinary people in Christchurch, East Central, will benefit from the program that we have for renewable energy at no upfront cost.
Okay, wonderful. Now we have another question here from Ryan Turnkey, and he's asking, will you be dealing with the corruption issues in Barbados, the land of fraud, etc.? Patrick, tell me, let's be concise and get some of these answers. The people, they say, they keep talking to us. We want to ask them questions. What are your thoughts about that?
There's a structure in Barbados to deal with fraud. It starts with the police force, and then it's extended to the Director of Public Prosecutions. And we are not going to recreate the wheel. We're going to let that happen. But when it gets to us at the level where we are at as elected officials, we're not going to deny justice. That's what we can say.
Ditto to
that. And I'm looking for the questions. I got so excited. Any more questions, guys? Are we missing any questions here?
And while you're preparing for the next question, can I also say that the $3,000 voucher that is supposed to go to people owning their first homes, that's not going to help a lot of people, because the unemployment is so high. It is in excess of 17% of all eligible employees in Barbados, and in some places, that's the national average. In some places, it's like St. Michael's Southeast. In some pockets of the Pine, you've got 60% unemployment. So how could those people get a mortgage from the bank to get that $3,000 certificate or voucher when they can't get a mortgage because they don't have a job? That's a useless promise. And it doesn't do anything for the high unemployment in Barbados. First, you've got to do your part to get people their jobs. And then when they get a job, then they can get a mortgage and then get the 3,000 voucher. I want to hear how many people can get that voucher. Not many, because they don't have a job.
And they know who the lawyers are that can get you $3,000 too. So they don't get that with that. They know who the lawyers are will get that. Not every lawyer will get that. You ain't gonna pick your lawyer and get that. Don't mind them. How certain are the opposition parties that they will not end up splitting the vote to benefit of the BLP? Now, let me say this. This question was put to me even today. I am telling you that the population of Barbados, the electorate, is beginning to lump B and D together as the political establishment and almost has won. And the people of this country, the electorate, are looking for a fresh alternative away from the B and the D. Yes, you know, a couple seats will be picked up here and there, but I don't believe it is a matter of splitting the vote. I believe that the electorate that see what Patrick and I and what we as the Alliance are offering will respond to us accordingly. And the others are the two that will split their vote, and they can go ahead and split it however many ways they like. But we believe that the electorate will respond to the fresh integrity, solution focused and solution oriented alternative that we are providing with people that you can trust. And I don't think it's going to be a matter of splitting the vote. I think it is going to be a matter of taking the vote from both B and D, and that we will get something new and fresh and different and invigorating in Barbados this time.
Thank you, Sean. There's another question here. Says, I'm concerned that there isn't a useful interpretation of what constituency representation is all about. Have any of the candidates asked their constituents what representation means to them? Does it line up with the candidate's view of the same? That's a very good question. Patrick, you want to take that?
Yeah, I think it's an intelligent question coming from a brilliant mind. And when we meet with the persons in the constituency, that's the kind of discussion that entails. So that's the good thing about the question. And it brings out now what we do on those meetings when we go to households, or as it stands now, stand up in the road and talk to people because of the COVID situation, right? So those are the questions that are asked, and we share with them what representation is from our end. And funny enough, it satisfies the request on the side of the constituent.
Okay, great. Now, somebody else, there's another question here. If any of you guys get elected, would you be willing to address corruption and hold those criminals accountable for their crimes? I think they mean the people in government. I think we kind of answered this question a bit. Sean, you want to jump in?
I want to make it clear that dealing with crime and law is not the function of elected of political. You have to keep the judiciary separate from the political direction.
Sean, look in the camera. Sean, come over. Sean, okay. Come over a bit. Yes, thank you.
Yes. The law enforcement is a matter for the judiciary, and it is not for the political directorate to insert themselves into that kind of thing at that level. What, as Patrick said, Patrick, and none of us will stand in the way of justice and people in Barbados getting justice and for the wheels of justice to turn. But it is not for elected officials to direct the political directorate to insert themselves in the judicial process.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And we're moving fast because we want to answer the questions. And guys, if you're watching this and you know anybody who lives in Christchurch, East Central, or people who live in the Pine, please share this with them. Please share this with them. As we said, this is an opportunity to get the word out about our third-party candidates. We had Solutions Barbados on before with Grenville Phillips and Philip Springer, and they have a coalition as well. And wherever their representative, Philip Springer was from St. Thomas, share it so that people can actually listen to what it is that they have to say and make a decision. Okay, Very important. Here's another question coming at you. Wayne Hoyt is saying, Marcy, there's a reality that politicians seem to not connect with, and that is the role of the members of the civil service. And that is the role the members of the civil service play in the execution of all their plans. When elected, do they actually create an environment that allows the civil service to buy into the plans and policies and deliver a better service to the public? Wow, I love this, Mr. Hoyt. I love this. Patrick, you want to take this?
Sure. I think it's, again, another excellent question, Mr. Hoyt. I can tell you that there's a lot of respect from the persons who are ministers of the gospel. And you will find that in our coalition, 99% of us are ministers of the gospel. And these are very cherished people in the civil service who are our constituents in another place. And we value them. We value their input. They're Sunday school teachers and they are functionaries in our churches. So that answers the question alone. We will not just make sure that they have unhindered input so that they can join with us and join forces as it was meant to be, because that's how it was meant to be, that the elected officials and the civil servants work hand in hand to bring value to the people of Barbados. And that is how it will start to be and return to be, that relationship, that unique relationship between the minister and the PS is not one of friction and confrontation, but rather of cooperation. And that's what you're going to see from us. That is going to be a sigh of relief to every person in the civil service to see people like us, Sean, myself, Lynette, and Reverend Adderley, and the members of this party being a part of. Listen, you know the friction that's going on in the civil service. You know what we have for that? We have the app for that.
Install the app, update the app, something, whatever the app. You got
to
an
download
app
the app and apply the app. We have the app for that.
Wow. So I'm looking for some more.
What I will add to that, I like how Patrick responded. The only time the civil service system and it doesn't work is when you have a despotic dictator. That's when the system breaks down. If you don't have a despotic dictator in leadership in the political directorate, then the system works. It works very well in England. The Westminster system of government with the political directorate and the civil service has worked smoothly for years and be very effective form of governance. It only breaks down when a dictator steps in. And that dictator is stepping out.
I want to hasten to add that, Marcia, as Christians, right? We pray for the persons who are running in other parties. There's no antagonism from us to them. There's full respect to them and their families, and there's no antagonism. So we may say things that appear to criticize them, which we do. And we may say things that will disagree with their policies, but we show them the absolute respect and we give them the space to do what they're doing. We will disagree. As we said, that's how we both got here. We disagreed strongly to the point where we had to leave our spaces of comfort and come here. Now, it's on the policies that we disagree with these people. It's not on a personal vendetta. I have an excellent relationship with everybody as far as I am aware. And I'm not going to go after people and hurt them or say things, neither Sean nor Bishop Adderley or none of us. I'm telling you, our objective is to criticize what is being done that is not in line with the higher power that we serve. And let me tell you, right, we are as civil and as directed. Let me tell you, you know, people might hear Sean and I tonight, and they don't understand everything that we say because we haven't had a whole week with them. But I can tell you the stuff that we've already said on this brilliant show, Marcia, that you've put together is enlightening enough for people to know, and we've shared it with enough passion and sensibility to know that this is not just serious, but it's going to be the stuff that will cause our country to come back from the abyss where it is currently at right now. The crime and violence is off the roof, right? We cannot live like this. We cannot live in poverty. We cannot live in fear. We cannot live without knowing where there's going to be an economic growth spurt. We have none of that. Every job that's being offered now is a job that shows that there is no hope for people with a good education unless you want to be an indentured servant and go no further. This is unacceptable for the Barbados that Barrow and even Adams created. And we want to take it to another level. The Barbados know that the act needs to be applied to.
Okay, you know what? We were supposed to be finished at 9 o'clock. We're going to take this last question, and I promise you, whenever they come on, if we didn't answer your question tonight, we're tune in tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock, and we're going to be on with more candidates. And I have lots of friends who are, as Patrick said, it's nothing against individuals. I have friends who are part of the traditional parties, but I'm using my time and my energy and my space to promote the third parties, because it's obvious to everybody they do not get as much airplay. And that's it. It's nothing against them. I have my love, Kimar Stewart. I love him because he's so real, and there's so many others that are there that I love, but this space and my time and my energy is going to be given to those who the traditional media does not give them the same time of day. So I want you to help me, please share this live. If you want,
Marcia, can I answer that question though about digital currencies?
Yes, I want you to answer it. But I just want to ask the others to share this live, guys, because I think it was fresh. I love the idea that they're not coming up with plans and looking on the people where they fix 2 rows and fix 3 light bulbs. You understand? I love that. Because you're not speaking down to people. You're lifting up people, man. I love it. Yeah. So answer the question, Patrick, before I get all passionate about this.
All right. So let me take the route. Thank you, Marcia. We love you. You're an amazing lady, right? Listen, let me take the route of just explaining that you cannot take up Barbados dollars and pay external bills, right? When an invoice comes into a merchant, they can't say, well, look, I'm going to send a Barbados money order or wire transfer in Barbados dollars to you overseas, because the Barbados dollar is not accepted, right, as a currency that they can use. So this term about hard currency, it comes to bear. No, with the digital currency fix, within the digital system, which is essentially what the financial systems are now, digital, we can give the Barbados dollar a digital value, which is 50 US cents officially, because you plug it into a Federal Reserve server, and that's what it becomes, 50 cents to the US dollar. So the value of 50 cents to the Barbados dollar is what the merchants will get. So you can literally then take up Barbados dollars digitally and pay bills externally, because it has a US dollar fixed value within the digital system. That's what we were bringing, and that's how you can then take up Barbados dollars and pay your bills. That's why you don't need US dollars now. You don't need to earn foreign currency, because your dollar will be internationalized by plugging it into the Federal Reserve server.
Wow, you guys need to come back, because this is so.
We both will come back. Bring us back together.
Yeah, because I love the energy. There's a freshness happening here. There's something that's different, and I love it. So we're gonna come back, guys, and we've gone way over time tonight, but I know the people are. Did you all enjoy the show? Did you enjoy the show? Thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the show. Yeah. Thumbs up. Thumbs up, guys. Thumbs up. Yeah. Yes, we need these guys back on. Somebody's saying yes. So, guys,
and Marcia, yes. just so you know, right, Marcia, there's a lot more we can share. Our expertise areas aren't limited to what we share. We only give you literally a glimpse of what is about to happen. And Barbados is about to be repositioned to be the #1 country on the planet based on some of the other things that Sean and I can share, I assure you.
I really do want to come back on with that. Amazingly, we are both ordained ministers. We are both in the international finance, and our constituencies are right on to each other. So the southern boundary of his constituency, the northern boundary of my constituency, and we didn't plan it. It just happened so. And we have always worked well together. Patrick and I have done projects together. We've gone on different sides of the same projects, and it has always worked well. Great to be on the show with Patrick tonight.
The honor is mine, my brother.
Yes, and thank you, Marlene.
Marcia, if I could just stick this in, right? Some of the things that we're going to start in our individual constituencies, we're going to collaborate at a national level and bring to the entire country. So it's not limited to, Christchurch and St. Michael Sulphur. Yeah, we're assuring that this is where we will start, but it's not. It's actually for Barbados. We're going to.
But I want to say something though. Let me just cut you off. Please make sure you start it with those people in the constituency, because that's where the problem is. You see, and then when it works, then pilot thing, then let's take it now, to other places. But make sure them people in the Pine benefit these big ideas. Don't let somebody say they're too big for the people in the Pine, and don't let anybody tell you, Sean, they're too big for Christchurch Central. No, they want big ideas too.
Absolutely, it's true. The Pine is my people, so yes. If you see 100 guys, it's my son. That's Michael Tanis, the great.
Yes.
My beloved son.
All right, guys, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. We are going to have more persons next tomorrow. Tune in and share the live, and let this be the place that we're at to hear about the third parties. God bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes, guys. So we're gonna see you again tomorrow evening at 7:00. At 7:00, Marlene, thank you for being here. Curtis, Legatus, Wayne Hoyt, thank you, Karen, Glasgow, my friend Jenny Highland, Valsia King, Douglas Mears. Oh my Lord, Douglas, he's such a man of the people as well. Adrian Hines. Everybody who's commented, thank you so much for being on. And the very first person that was on, Sonia Perch. Thank you, Sonia, for being on. As soon as I opened up, you were there. Thank you, Ayo Daly Bishop. Yes, and great to have you all on. And look out for me again tomorrow evening at 7. Share this live. It's important. We need to get people to know who they are. Okay? God bless you. Bye-bye.